Hello, my name is Tom Stiles, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And we're going to wrap up the review of this Eton Satellite radio. It's a brand new radio. And what we're going to start off with is some more of the features, try to finish that up. And then we're going to turn the volume down. I've got it in scan mode on the shortwave band right now. And it is 5 o'clock in the morning here in Florida, and I don't know if I'm going to get very much this early in the morning, but possibly some stations over in Asia, since it's still dark over there, but it's already daylight in Europe, so chances of getting stations in Europe are pretty slim. But anyway, we're going to go over, while this thing is scanning, we're going to go over some of the features that I didn't get in the last review. And I'm going to stop this because it's distracting to watch that frequency change. Oh, God, it's distracting. Okay. Now, one of the things that I really like about this radio, it's not a big deal, but it can be a nuisance if it doesn't have it. And that is the telescopic antenna has a full swivel and it's receded back. It's not on the center. You see if I can tilt it up there. See, it's on the back of the radio. So consequently, what happens is you can pull it forward this way and it'll stand when it's on its little kickstand in the back and sitting on your desk. The telescopic antenna will stand straight up, so it's perpendicular to, in this case, my table, which is very important because some radios, they will swivel, but they won't let you bring it forward, so the antenna ends up pointing out that way at about a 45-degree angle, which is not optimum for reception. So that's one nice feature of this radio. Let's talk a little bit, and I'll put the antenna down some so I don't poke myself in the eye again I say. Go over some of the connections on the sides, which won't show up very good on my wimpy camera, but anyway, this is the infamous, let me use a pen here, get my fat finger out of the way. Here's the infamous antenna connector, which appears to be a stereo connection, and that's why I was having problems with it. And then here is a DX local switch, in case you're listening to a local station and it's too strong, you can use this as an attenuator. And down here is a headphone jack, and finally this is the AC adapter. And it turns out all of these new Eton radios, the 4 of them, use the same basic AC adapter. So that's nice. So at least something is common between the radios. Now we go to the other side, and here is the tuning knob, which I mentioned. This is both the broad tuning and the fine tuning, and you press it in to change the tuning modes. And down here is the volume control, and in here is the line in and out. And unfortunately, they positioned the writing here such that part of it's covered up. Pretty poor engineering there. So you can see line, and then it's kind of hidden down in there, in and out. Not a big deal. It doesn't change the function, but it's like, come on, guys, can't you get things right here? Uh-oh, time to get up. Nothing on the top and nothing on the back except the little kickstand and the battery compartment. Forgot to mention it takes 4 AA batteries, and it does have a feature where you can use rechargeables and recharge the batteries. And then I told you about there's actually a timer that you can set the time that it's in the charge mode. Kind of interesting, but I'm not sure what it's for exactly as far as being helpful. Okay, now let's go back to the front panel. And I did mention, or maybe I didn't mention, that it does have a squelch control. Believe it or not, it has a squelch control. And you can use that to add a squelch, although typically a squelch control is not used on shortwave. Now, it can be used on the airband. That's a good place to use it, but not typically used on squelch. I don't think setting that squelch level, and there's only a couple levels, I don't think it affects when you're using the automatic tuning. I think that's a fixed squelch, I'll call it, when it's doing the automatic tuning. So I haven't experimented with that, but I think that's the case. Another feature is, which is very hard to see, is right here it says weekday and then a number, which is supposed to be kind of like a week calendar to tell you that it's the third day of the week. I don't know why they did that. Oh, anyway, also on the ATS function, the ATS function does not work. That is, the automatic tune and store does not work on shortwave. It only does the automatic tuning. That's all it does. It does work on the AM band and the FM band. So it will scan the band, find a strong signal, and then store it in memory if you want to do that option. It does have the airband. As I mentioned before, I let it scan for a while yesterday and didn't really pick up too much traffic. It did pick up some communications, and the ones that it did pick up when it was scanning were quite clear, very clear. So it works, but didn't seem to be very sensitive. And as I said before, if you want to monitor the airband for commercial aircraft, or if you can even get radios that will monitor the military bands, air bands, you're better off with a scanner, just because you're typically going to be searching for something. You're not going to stay on a particular frequency, although you could do that if you have an airport that's local to you and you know that one frequency. You could stay on that, and this radio probably would work in that function pretty good. I don't know. I'm close to Tampa Airport, Tampa International, and that was the one station it was finding is the air traffic controller frequency for departures at Tampa International Airport. The other thing is that I didn't mention before is the other function of these F keys, these 7 F keys at the top, is when the radio is on and when you're in the shortwave band, it selects the international broadcast bands. And I'll show you that. So I'm going to press F1, and it starts at 49 meters. F2 is 41 meters, and so on down. So that's how you can quick tune to the international bands, and then once you're there, you can fine tune from there. So that's the other function of the function keys. Does that make sense? Function of the function. Yeah, I guess it does. Okay. Now, just going back for a second, this is the type of connector you need for that external antenna connection. It's a stereo connector. And here, for instance, is what I was started out using, which is my adapter for my GRV coax cable, excuse me, G5RV coax cable. And as you can see, the ground part of this, the mono, lines up with the center part of this, which was probably shorting out the antenna connection. And that's probably what I was seeing. Someone informed me that Radio Shack carries an adapter that will take this mono plug and change it to a stereo plug. So I'm going to go to my local Radio Shack today and see if I can find one. I did see them online on Amazon, so they are available. What's interesting, the one I found on Amazon is sold by Radio Shack, so seems to be like that's where I'm going to have to get it, through Radio Shack one way or another. So I'm going to try to get one of those and see if that adapter works, and I'm in business then, so that removes the one annoying thing about this radio that I don't like, is the fact that I can't use my standard G5RV antenna. So much for the antenna. We won't talk about the antenna anymore. External antenna. Okay, in FM mode, let me go to FM mode. There is a slight delay when you select a mode. Let me turn this down, make sure I don't get in trouble. So sometimes when I was first starting out, I was pushing the button and I didn't see a reaction, so I pushed it again, and then it basically undid what I did on the first push. So you've got to push the button and wait a half a second to a second for it to react. So that's something I've learned. Now, if I push the RDS button, there is a couple pieces of information that it will provide. Now, unlike another radio that I reviewed that had RDS, that radio would actually scan through the various pieces of information you get from a station that is broadcasting RDS data. And there's like, I think there's like 3 or 4 pieces of information that they can put out. And they don't have to put it all out. They don't have to put out any of it, whatever. It's up to the station. But there's, for instance, there's the PS information, which is the name of the station. There's the PYT, which is the type of station, what they, are they contemporary music, are they rock music, whatever. And then there's the RT data, which is just text data they can put out about the station or about the record or album that is being played. And then there's just general data that can be output. And like I say, on my HD radio, that's which one it was, the HD radio, which has RTS, would scroll through that data, so you didn't have to go select one of those pieces of data. This radio, you have to select what you want it to display. So right now it's displaying a coded adult hit. I guess that means adult hits. And I think what you do is you push the RDS again. No, that's not right. What do I push? Let me look at the manual. How you scroll through this. It says to push the page time button. Now, that's obviously not right. But what it does say, and that's what's a little confusing, it says you have to select what you want to display in the RDS mode with the radio off, and then that's what you see. So you can't select it when you've got it on and listening. So let's just go through that procedure real quickly. And so I can turn the radio off, and then I press and hold F6. No, that's the scan mode selection. Well, forget it. Forget that. Not that important. Well, now I can't get out of that mode. Okay, I'll just have to wait. Okay, there. Nope. See, now there's an exact example of what I was talking about. I pushed the button to turn it on. It didn't come on, so I pushed it again, and I turned it off. So you got to wait a half a second to a second after you push the button. But anyway, I can't figure out how to scroll through the RDS information. Oh, wait a minute. Here's RDS mode. What if that could be it? Duh. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Okay, now it's scrolling through. Oh, now it's scrolling through some information. Now this may be. Let me hit it again. Okay, now on Q105, Time After Time. That's the name of the album. By. And then it didn't say who was by. Okay, so that's one mode. That's probably the, I think in the data mode. Oh, no, there's the data mode. Okay, so that's the data mode. This station is putting out no data. So then our next one I should go to is the station name. Now, there's no station name there. It's more like the category. Okay, let's push it again. And then there's the music. So that's probably text. So we skipped over station name. That's the text, and it's the music that is playing. There's the station name. There's, okay, this is the one that's scrolling. So this is probably the data function. I don't know. It's got a lot of different modes in RDS. But end of story. Okay, sync detector. Let's go back to shortwave. Okay, and we got to find a station. Let's try WWV. I got to put the antenna back up, and we'll turn the volume up. Where's the volume? Okay. And why did it change frequencies? I must have hit a button by mistake. I hope. Okay, there's WWV. And we'll hit the sync. Okay, it's trying to sync right now. Okay, now it's in sync mode. And I hear this whining sound. So it's sync, lower sideband. Kind of garbled. Let's try it again. Sync off. Okay, there's with the sync off. Sync on. It's louder, but there's high-pitched sound there. So it's louder, but there's that very high frequency whine. Try, see if we can go to lower. There's lower. Ooh, it's really bad there. Whoa, whoa, let's go out of sync. Okay, let me turn the volume down. Okay, apparently with that test of 1, when I selected sync, the signal and the noise got louder, but it added this high-pitched sound, which was very annoying, on the, I think it was upper sideband using sync, and in the lower sideband, it had even more annoying sound. Now, maybe WWV is not a good signal to be using sync on. Let me see if I can find a station. Let me try in 9 megahertz band. So let's turn the volume up. And of course we got that nasty muting. Like I was saying, reception this morning is not very good. It's overcast, rainy, got some severe weather coming. Okay, we're finding absolutely nothing. Let's try automatic tune. Okay, we're going to let it tune here, and I'll check my notes here. I think that's about all that I was going to cover on this radio. Just for grins, while this thing is trying to find a station, here is one of the other new Eton radios. This is the Traveler 3, and it's got very limited controls. These are basically the controls here. This is the tuning knob over here. Same design on the case. Also, the antenna is recessed, so it's on the back, it's not on the top. And it does have this, if I get it open, this is the clock feature, so that you can display international time. So I've seen an actual clock like this, not a radio, where, and that was just noise. So you turn this and it changes the time, and so it's an international clock basically of what it is, and it tells you the city that the time zone has been selected for, and it's got a little map down here of the time zones. This radio receives pretty good. Like I say, it doesn't have a lot of features, but I can't remember how much this is, but it's fairly cheap cost-wise compared to this guy. But it doesn't have single sideband, so it doesn't have all the features that this one has. Now this one's still trying to find a station, and like I say, conditions are not very good, so I may just abandon this. Prediction is this week the weather's going to be pretty nasty here in Florida. So I think reception may be kind of out of the question this week. But when I first got this radio, the weather was really nice. Atmospheric conditions were good, and I was picking up a lot of stations. I probably should have recorded that. So it is a good receiver. It's very sensitive when there's things there to pick up. But it's struggling right now to find anything. But I would imagine if I took any radio I have right now, it's not going to find much. And I don't have the advantage of using an external antenna, although I could kind of, I could do one of those clip-on deals to try to clip on an antenna. Matter of fact, I've got this from my loop antenna when it came with it, and it's an adapter when you don't have an actual external antenna connection. So you use this clip-on feature. And what I could do, the other thing is I do have my loop antenna, which the loop antenna, it's inside, it's only about 3 feet away from me, so it's not that good. It does improve a little bit, and I'm going to jam that thing, wrong term. I'm going to insert this thing into, and it does have a stereo jack. I'm going to insert that thing and see if it helps it. Okay, now we're scanning again. We're down to 75 meters. The other thing nice about this scan is it does scan all of the international bands, not just one of them. It does scan them all, but it only scans the international bands. It doesn't scan the whole shortwave spectrum. So if you wanted to scan through, for instance, the amateur radio bands, it's not going to do it. So it's an advantage of the scan, the disadvantage that it's not continuous. And it's still trying to find something. I think, let me disconnect that just for a second and look at the S meter reading. Yeah, this is apparently the other thing wrong with the external antenna connection. It appears the polarity is backwards, because when I plug in this loop antenna, which has a stereo plug, it once again kills the input. Like, for instance, these were reversed or somehow. So forget that idea. Now, what I could do, which I was starting to do, is I could take, where'd it go? I could take this guy, which is used to attach to the telescopic antenna, and I'll plug in the loop antenna, and then I'll grab the white connector, the white clip, and I'll clip it to the, I'll clip it, I gotta put this down, get down to one of the narrow sections, and I will clip this onto that. And now I'm getting a big boost in the signal level, meaning probably getting a lot of noise in. But it did go up from, there we go. Oh, that's that same noise on 12 megahertz. That must be something internal in my office coming through on 12 megahertz. Okay, we're up to 26 minutes, so I'm going to have to do an abort here since I'm not picking up anything. Let's go back for the heck of it. Let's go back to WWV. Full scale. I am full scale. Let me disconnect my loop antenna. And it's about S4. I connect my loop antenna. Now, I don't know if you noticed it, but I went from half scale, I'll say it, with just the telescopic antenna, and right now the telescopic antenna is collapsed because I wanted to hook up this guy. And when I hook up this guy, which is the loop antenna without the amplifier, it goes to full scale. Well, it was full scale. It's bouncing around. So let me take that off. Re-extend the telescopic antenna, and I'm still only about 5 or 6. Let me just touch this thing on there, and now it's up to 8 or 9. So my loop antenna is bringing me more signal, but it's probably also bringing me more noise from my office. So I was hoping to find a regular non-WWV station. Let's go to like 15 megahertz. Scan above that. Yeah, mute. Okay, this morning I can't seem to find a station to try to sync on besides that's. Now let's go back to 9 megahertz. No, unsuccessful. But like I said, I was using the sync detector circuit the other day, and it was doing the same thing as I just showed you on WWV. It actually made the signal worse. So anyway, that's the show for today. I appreciate everybody that has subscribed and has supported my shows this year. And I want to wish everybody a happy and safe holidays. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.